Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to this very special edition marking our 7th anniversary. On this occasion, I'm very thrilled to be joined by my fellow presenters from our sister shows in French, Arabic and Spanish. We're going to be hearing from the new voices of feminism across the globe with reports from Chile, India, Madagascar and Egypt. But we begin in Latin America, which is home to more than half of the 25 most dangerous countries in the world for women. Our reporters talked to the activists in Chile whose song against sexual violence called "A Rapist in Your Path" became a global meme.
A radical slogan that became the rallying cry for a wave of feminist street actions around the world. Behind it are 4 Chilean women from the collective known as Las Tesis.
For a long time, we've felt this passion, this urgency to defend feminist principles.
In November 2019, outside of Valparaiso police station, they unveiled their choreographed song, "A Rapist in Your Path." Originally crafted for a theater piece about rape, the performance quickly became a viral phenomenon. A year later, thousands of women around the world have recreated their own versions. Eyes covered, same moves, taking over public squares to denounce macho violence.
The patriarchal system is everywhere. Gender-based oppression is everywhere. Whatever the culture, it's a global issue.
Las Tesis puts blame on the perpetrator, but also on the state that fails in its duty to protect, with police and judges who discriminate and blame the victim. The collective celebrated the first anniversary of their movement on November 25th, International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, with a rowdy but peaceful chant in the streets of Santiago. But after just a few minutes, their demonstration was violently dispersed by police.
They were so violent. It's the opposite of what we were hoping for, and it's heartbreaking. Watch out.
Another performance by Las Tesis even earned them criminal charges filed by Chilean police. Not enough to stop the activists, for whom global recognition was an unexpected boon.
As it's a global problem, there needs to be a global solution too. We really hope to see a change in our lives.
In the meantime, they continue to spread their feminist message so that one day it will become reality.
Let's cross now to Angela Gomez, the host of our Spanish sister show, AS Hoy, who's in Bogotá, where France 24 Spanish is located. Now, in Latin America, taking a public stand against misogyny is clearly a risky venture, isn't it, Angela?
Sí, Annette. De hecho, algo que he aprendido en este tiempo.
One thing I learned working on AS Hoy these past few years is that even if it is difficult, there are always female activists defending women's rights. It is indeed risky, even more in Latin America. Women's activism comes with life threats against female activists and against their families as well. There is an attempt to block efforts made in favor of social work. The best example to illustrate this is Las Tesis. The police reported them because they felt threatened by their song. It is surprising not only for me but also for them, because how is it possible that a song, an anthem that talks about rape, can be perceived as a threat by the police? They are supposed to be protecting women against sexual violence. We've seen this on the 25th of November. They were only able to sing their song "A Rapist in Your Path" once before getting violently dispersed by the police. It really is a struggle fighting for women's rights in Latin America.
Angela, thanks for that. Now, also with me in the studio is Virginie Hertz, the host of Actuel, our French sister show. As we see there, Virginie, this new generation of feminists, they're certainly not afraid to take on the most difficult issues, and they are indeed fearless women, aren't they?
Yes, certainly, but brave women have existed at all time and everywhere around the world. What changes now is that with social media, these women are more visible and protected. They have each other's backs and are less isolated. There are also new topics brought by this new generation of feminists. The Me Too movement broke the silence around sexual violence, but we can also also mention the period taboo or a better share of the mental load. Furthermore, this new generation defends an intersectional feminism which takes into consideration various forms of discrimination, with among them gender discrimination, race, or social background.
Virginie, thanks for that. And here's another example of the new generation of activists. Our reporters went to meet Madagascar's first ever eco-feminist who campaigns on behalf of vulnerable communities, especially women and the LGBT community. Yet speaking out also means Maria Cristina has become a target herself.
This tailor's workshop in Madagascar is one of a kind. Everyone working here is either trans, gay, bisexual or lesbian. They earn a living thanks to Marie-Christina Colo.
The aim is really to give them back their dignity, to show people that they're not excluded, not pariahs.
A 32-year-old social entrepreneur and activist was born with humanitarianism in her blood. Coming from a family that were lucky enough to escape poverty themselves, she created her first charity at just 8 years old and hasn't stopped fighting injustice since. With the support of her mother, she's become one of Madagascar's leading voices on all subjects taboo, including rape.
We all knew that an MP had raped a young girl. The family did everything they could to go after the MP through the courts, but in his position, he even managed to get re-elected as Vice President of the National Assembly.
In Madagascar, 1 in 10 women over the age of 15 has been sexually assaulted. In a bid to help them, Marie-Christina created a platform that provides legal and psychological support to victims. The activist has never shied away from calling out abuses of power. One of her first major causes was climate change, and in 2016 she founded a social enterprise specialized in recycling.
We've managed to make soap from used cooking oils. Usually this oil is dumped, becoming the main cause of water pollution in urban areas.
But not everyone is a fan of her efforts.
We've been called idiots, trash and other names by our elected representatives, simply because we were young people trying to raise awareness about food waste at the National Assembly. Those people should be ashamed, but instead they're the ones insulting the youth who make up the majority of the country.
Marie-Christina is determined to continue denouncing poor governance, corruption and other problems afflicting her country. But even more than that, she wants to inspire the youth to become agents of change themselves.
To India now, where women from the Dalit community face double discrimination by being both female and also as members of the untouchables, which languish at the bottom of the country's caste system. As a result, they frequently find themselves the target of sexual violence. But Sarita Verma, a lawyer and a Dalit woman herself, is determined that the women in her community break free of the caste system, as our team reports.
In India, the women of the Dalit or untouchable community have historically suffered in silence. Sarita Verma has witnessed it firsthand.
The Dalit woman can't speak in front of her husband, and the family doesn't let her leave the house. The sole reason for her existence is her children.
A Dalit activist, lawyer and mother of 2, Sarita is committed to amplifying the voices of women like her and creating a more just society for her children. Her first experience of discrimination on a school visit to a Hindu temple laid the foundation of her work as an activist.
Once we met, the priest asked me what community I was from, so I said, "What do you mean by community? What do you want to know?" He said, "What is your father's name?" But I didn't understand the caste system then. He told me not to come anymore. He said, "Your caste can't enter the temple."
Women within this community have to bear the added burden of gender discrimination.
Farming labor, house cleaning, public sanitation work, these are the kinds of occupation our Dalit women are involved in. You won't find a single upper caste woman in these jobs.
Excluded from the larger discourse on gender rights, Dalit women are easy targets for hate crimes.
They went at the door with an axe. They slammed against the door and broke it open. 10 or 11 people broke this bolt. It was weak.
These women who were attacked in the middle of the night by upper caste neighbors are the only Dalits in the area. They were intimidated and told to leave their land, and the police refused to file a full report.
There are very few officers from the Dalit community at these police stations. They are always from upper castes, and they do not want their own caste to look bad.
Caste is woven into the very fabric of Indian society. For Sarita, the fight for equality has a long road ahead.
Watching that report with me here in the studio is my Saloon Nasser, who presents our sister show here, Hadath on France 24 Arabic. My Saloon, the issues there in India are equally repeated across the Arab world. So how do these countries nowadays view feminism, especially in the wake of the Arab Spring?
Hi, Annette. The word feminism is not well perceived in the Arab world, especially in the years following the Arab Spring, because of the rise of religious extremism. This particularly led to a distortion of feminism in people's minds. Many people think that feminists look like men, or aim to look like them. They also think that feminists are trying to take over men's role in society. But of course, we know that all of this is wrong. Today, many activists for women's rights are trying hard to dismantle this perception, and I think we, Arab journalists, should participate in this mission too.
Thanks, my Saloon. Now, since the January 25 revolution in 2011, the Egyptian capital of Cairo has become one of the world's most dangerous cities for women. Sexual harassment and violence is now a daily threat for every female resident. But an innovative campaign led by Egyptian feminist Hala Mustafa dares to point the finger at those responsible. This report from our France 24 team on the ground.
In 2011, millions of Egyptians took to the streets to bring down Hosni Mubarak's regime. In the midst of this fight for freedom, women were being sexually harassed all over the country. Scenes of sexual assault by groups of men amongst the crowds shocked the world. Faced with silence from the police, Hala Mustafa decided to tackle the issue with her NGO.
I started to work on my own on raising awareness among women about how they can defend themselves and confront their aggressors.
After the project was launched, street harassment in Cairo decreased, but for a short time only. The activist believes there's a long road ahead towards changing mentalities.
At the beginning of this initiative, and for quite some time, we were able to highlight the seriousness of these assaults on women, which made it possible to reduce their numbers relatively. Then, as a result of socio-political changes, we saw the number increase again, even more than before, as though men were taking revenge on us women because we were claiming our rights.
To date, there are no official figures on sexual violence against Egyptian women in the public domain. According to a UN report from 2016, 2.5 million Egyptian women are victims of rape or sexual assault every year.
I'm addressing all parents in Egypt. Please be a real support to your daughters. Educate your sons to respect women and not to harass them. Because when they really respect them, they won't hassle them, whether it's in the street, on public transport or at work. Nor are they going to degrade them or abuse them.
The activist doesn't believe authorities are open to change. She says the transition must first take place within Egyptian households.
Now, in the last 7 years, we've met many wonderful people doing their bit to promote equality, and some have kindly sent us their birthday wishes. So let's take a look.
Happy birthday, 51%.
Happy birthday, 51%. Thank you for telling our stories and sharing our voices. Please continue to do so. Fight on. We need you now more than ever.
Cette émission a vraiment sa place dans le monde car elle donne la parole aux femmes, aux jeunes sur des sujets tabous. Ce n'est pas les actes criminels des uns qui dérangent, mais le silence coupable des autres. Bon anniversaire à vous!
Happy birthday to the 51%.
Para las mujeres que estamos en la política es una maravilla conmemorar el 7º aniversario de un programa como Ellas Hoy. porque permite visibilizar la participación política, el activismo de las mujeres.
Thank you for everything you bring us. Thank you for reminding us that the female presence was for so long kind of erased from our screens, from the news, and sometimes even from our consciousness. So may you go from strength to strength. Very, very happy birthday.
And that's it for this special birthday edition. Now, there are many people who help get this show to air every week. So we just want to say a very big thank you to Stephanie Cheval, Camille Povrel, Aline Botan, Gael Esso, Yara Jamali, David Bowe, and all of our technical teams who, without their help, we would not be here. Now, we're going to be taking a break over the holiday season, and we'll be back in 2021 with more stories about the women who are reshaping our world. In the meantime, we're going to leave you with some images from some of those reports from a year like no other, thanks to COVID-19. So until our next show, happy holidays and bye for now.